Hello and welcome to the Oddschecker betting show. I'm your host, George Elek, and this is the All-Weather Championships Finals Day preview at Lingfield on Good Friday. And I'm delighted to be joined by just one guest this time, but it's the guest that you all want, Andy Holding, Oddschecker's very own horse racing tipster. Andy, the flat is pretty much back, and how are you finding it?
Yeah, I've enjoyed watching it. I haven't had that many bets. Had a crack at the Lincoln and went off the winner because of the draw, much to my stupidity. But that's going to be a common theme, I no doubt, through the rest of the year. Just trying to put the right pegs in the right holes. But no, it's been enjoyable, fun watching it. It's nice to actually watch some racing where they're not slogging around a 3-mile handicap chase somewhere and finishing on their knees. Even though I'm a jumps fan, but look, it's a great time of year. We've got Aintree coming up, Punchestown, intermingled with the start of the flat, so exciting times under both codes.
Sun is shining, the flat is back, summer is nearly here, and regular listeners to this podcast or viewers will have heard a few hard luck punting stories from me in the past. And with the Lincoln, it was it was another one. I've never done this before, Andy, but I backed the winner at about 3-1, and it went off 9.5 on the exchange. With best odds guarantees. I watched it. I cheered at home, that turn of foot with the apprentice getting him up, and refreshed my balance. I couldn't work out why I wasn't paying out. I had a look at my bets and I backed the wrong horse.
Oh no.
I would literally never done it in my life, and I'm still, nearly a week later, absolutely smarting about it, because got a nice juicy drift as well. But enough about that. No one cares. Let's try and back an actual winner and back the right horse here. Before we get into the racing, just going to point the listeners and viewers in the direction of the Oddschecker app. Do download it now. Get Andy's tips straight to it on the morning of every single day's racing. Best bookie offers, place terms, the best prices, of course. We'll be talking in terms of the best prices in the podcast today. And as I say, we're going to be covering the all-weather finals day at Lingfield on Friday. We're going to be just going through the card. So starting with the first race, which is the 2 o'clock. It's the marathon over 2 miles, and Rainbow Dreamer is the 3-1 favourite. We're recording this, I should say, just after midday on Wednesday. So just got decks in, and the markets are reforming kind of as we speak. And Rainbow Dreamer is the 3-1 favourite. That is with Sporting Index. Ranch Hand 7-2. Amtiaz 5-1. Rock Eagle 5-1. 6-1 Australis. 12-1 Lucky Deal. Island Brave is 16-1. Only 7 run at the moment, which isn't a great thing for the betting propositions. I guess you just got to back the winner, Andy. Any strong views here?
Not overly. Luckily, we're not dealing with the draw in this race, of course, like we are later on. I think the draw has made some kind of an effect on how we think and how we play those races later on, but more of those races when we deal with them. But I have noticed in the last few years that this race in particular, the field sizes have got smaller. So they've probably become a little bit more tactical than they have in a bygone era. And it's quite difficult to work out which one of these is going to benefit in the way this race is likely to pan out, because there's no guaranteed pace as such. You're really probably looking at the horse who's got the best all-round game, i.e. can travel well, doesn't expend too much energy, and then has got that crucial turn of foot towards the back end of the race. They've all kind of like got similar form lines. A lot of them have been taken on each other at some stage. Rock Eagle, Amtiaz, Lucky Deal, that they've fought out a finish at Kempton a couple of runs ago. Rainbow Dream is probably better at Newcastle. He's yet to race here at Lingfield, I did notice. Ranch Hand as well. He's a very strong stayer. He was good at Chelmsford last time, but he's never raced at Lingfield. And Wolverhampton seems to be Australis' track. And Island Brave, Newcastle. So I think the value at the moment as it stands, because he's run around the track a couple of times, is the Gosden runner, Amtiaz. Obviously, he's trained by an informed stable. We know that that ticks quite a few boxes. And he's got just a little bit to find with Rock Eagle and Lucky Deal on the Kempton run. But he's won at Kempton next time out. He's obviously progressing, but he's quite a handy type. He doesn't have to lead. He can just race in behind behind the pace. But he's quite a handy type, and I think he'll come down the hill really well here at Lingfield. He certainly did when he was in his first 2 runs. He's had that valuable track form, which I think is going to be invaluable. So at the prices in and around the 11-2 mark, what you just quoted me there, even though officially he's got a bit to find at the weights. I think he might turn out to be the value bet of the lot.
5-1, best price at the moment.
5-1, yeah.
Paddy Power, Betfair Sportsbook, and Unibet. Amtiaz, the one Andy is siding with at the moment, but of course only 2 places, a quarter of the 2 with 7 runners. Move on now to the Phillies and Mares, which is the 235 run over 7 furlongs, and there are 6 here, 6 runners. In the Angel is the even money favourite ahead of Fizzy Feet, Shimmering Dawn 5-1, Arafi 8-1. 20-1, Neroda and Folas for George Bowie is 25-1. In the Angel, a pretty short price favourite here. Is this a banker of the day or one you're looking to take on?
No, I think this is a good thing, as the market suggests. George, she was really good here when she won the Fleur de Lis back in, I think it was October, November, not October, wasn't it? Beat all the right horses in inverted commas. Lavender's Dream, who is a very reliable horse, was second. I think Cloak of Spirits was sent off even money favourite that day. Obviously got form tied in with Group 2 and Group 3 horses. And the horse of William Haggis's that finished third went over to Dundalk next time out and absolutely hit the ball out of the park on the time figure. So the form has worked out really well. Alumnar. So she's just pretty much ticks all the boxes you're looking at here. She's obviously won over the track. I don't see having any problems dropping back in trip to 7 furlongs, because she got plenty of 7 furlongs class on the grass prior to her victory over a mile, and she's got a great turn of foot as well. She came home in 22 and change when she won here that day when we saw her last, and it's obviously been an early season target for the Thady and John Gosden camp. They've obviously earmarked this. They recognise that she's got solid all-weather form. There's no real obvious race in the first part of the month in season on grass where they would go with her other than coming here. So I think this will kickstart a season off nicely. One would imagine that Fizzy Feet would lead. That's the usual tail of the tape with that one. Usually sets the field along at a merry, or takes the field along at a merry dance. She'll go around the inside in front, and one would imagine Martin Harley will just sit chilly in behind from stall 1 and take a lead, and then pull out and hopefully do her for a turn of foot down the straight. That's pretty much how the way I see it. So yeah, pretty decisive vote in the favour of Indie Angel.
Indie Angel, as I say, even money at the moment. That's with William Hill and Bet Victor. Martin Harley rides, and as you mentioned in the first race, John Gosden and Thady Gosden, his son, now holding a joint licence, and have got off to an absolute flyer. Easy lark, this training game, isn't it? For Thady Gosden.
Yes.
I think it helps maybe when your dad's John Gosden and you have the kind of horses
that
he's got.
Just a bit.
On to the sprint, the 3:10, and Harry's Bar is the 4-1 favourite ahead of Summerhand at 6-1. Venture 7-1. Lampang is 15-2. 8-1 Exalted Angel. 8-1 Aberama Gold. 10-1 Bar. 12 runners here, and a couple of firms already going 4 places. And if the last was a trappy affair with a short price favourite, this one is a pretty open race, and Andy, one that I'm hoping you can solve.
Hopefully, yeah. I'm a big fan of Adrian McGuinness, Ado McGuinness. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. He's done really well with buying other trainers' cast-offs and almost turning them around, even though there were good horses in the first place. Harry's Bar, take him for instance, who's the favourite for this final. He's already won a few races over in Dundalk, and this has been his target for a little while now. The only problem with him, he's gone and bagged stall number 12, which is not easy to overcome. He does like it here at Lingfield when trained by James Fanshawe, so we know he handles the trap, but he's going to do really well. It's not as if he's been priced up on his draw either. I think he's been chalked up sort of like that's the anti-post price he's been trading at, and bookmakers have left him at 4-1, even though he's gone and bagged the horrible draw. So I'd probably want to oppose him. Summergan's got the visor on, I noticed. That might bring around a little bit of change in his fortunes, but I'm not necessarily sure that Lingfield is his track. I think he wants a stiff galloping track like an Ascot, like a Goodwood, a straight track. I'm not, like I say, his runs around Lingfield I haven't really convinced. So I'm going to go with Exalted Angel here, who's bagged a reasonably good draw, still number 5, single figured. Likes to race prominently, was a good winner here of the qualifier back in February, when beating a similar field to today in quite a good time figure. As you'd imagine, those high-end handicaps are always good time figures.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that form already is beginning to work out well. Mum's Tipple, who was sixth and didn't get the clearest of runs that day, went on to win at Wolverhampton next time out. Summergan was in there as well. So it's already beaten quite a lot of the horses it's going to take on here on Friday. I do like Carl Burke as well in these big races. He's, especially with these sprinters, he's always very much a target man. And I would have thought he would have kept him nice and fresh. He's been off the track for 55 days. So he should race quite handily. You know, he doesn't, like I say, he doesn't have to lead, but there's bound to be plenty of pace on. You've got Lord Ridderford drawn stall 3. He probably wants 5 furlongs, but he'll go off quickly. There are Brian, Aberama Gold as well, another horse that likes to force the pace. So he should get the perfect setup with a lot of speed on the inside of him. You've got Aberama Gold 1, Lord Ridderford drawn 3. He's drawn 5. You could see him going around that top bending, probably no worse than 3rd or 4th, just like he was when he won here back in February. So everything really should set up quite nicely for Exalted Angel. And he's 8-1 as well, which is a bit of a bonus. I didn't think it'd be as big a price as that.
8-1, Paddy Power, Betfair Sportsbook, and Bet Victor. Just because this is obviously a race where the draw is incredibly important, and we'll have a lot of people who know Lingfield well and understand that a wide draw, especially coming around that tight bend with a short home straight, makes it very difficult. I mean, how much would you dissuade those who are thinking, who think Harry's Bar is a good thing and who reckon that 4-1 has a bit of juice in it when you are coming from wide at Lingers over 6 furlongs?
I think the draw is more important in the sprint races. In respect, if you're drawn high like Harry's Bar is to begin with, it just makes it very difficult to get into the position that you want, because there's no problem coming wide at Lingfield in the home straight. Actually, in the middle part of the track, finishing well down the middle is usually the place to be at Lingfield. You don't really want to be sucked onto that inside fence. So if you are drawn 1 and you lead and then you get pinned down on the rail, that ends up being a disaster. You want a little bit of combination of both. You don't want to be too low, too high. You want to be somewhere where Exalted Angel is, so you can just race off the curb, but then come wide down the middle when you slingshot out.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is Harry's Bar from stall 12 is going to have to take his medicine and drop right out the back, or be forced to race hard into the first bend to try and hold his position. So it's the pressure, it's the levels of energy he's going to be expending early, which is the problem, rather than a wide draw being an issue. Because I don't mind you challenging wide at Lingfield, but it's how far back he is, or how much energy he's used up in that early part of the race against quality sprinters. And when you're dealing with only a length or two either way, which is the difference between winning and losing in these kind of races, I think he might just lose enough for him not to be at his absolute maximum. And at the price, like I say, if he's like 10-1, you think, well, I'll take my chance. But 4-1, you haven't got much juice in that price.
4-1, and then after a few strides, he could be 5 wide and too far back.
Exactly, yeah. He's bound to drift in the in-running markets because, from being on level terms, he's going to be 4 or 5 behind the pace setters. So it's not ideal. Harry's Bar would have been one of my picks here, but I can't back him from stall 12, knowing the historic data that we have at Lingfield from a wide draw.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move on to the 3-year-old race now, the 3:45, and Diligent Harry is the 9-4 favourite. Another Harry as the favourite here. Mighty Gurkha is 7-2. Apollo 1 is 9-2. Zamani 8-1. Victory Heights 8-1. 16-1 bar. 10 run here. Not so keen on Harry's Bar's chances. What about Diligent Harry?
I think going forward, this is one of the nicest horses running on this card. He's created a real favourable impression on his first 2 runs. I mean, remember he won at Wolverhampton first time out. He was very well touted, but he knew his job, George, that day. He could tell that he'd been well drilled, well schooled. He hit the lids. He was always in front or close to the lead. He was too good for the market leader, Batra, on that day. And then he went to Kempton and he was 7-1 on and couldn't fail. But he made the running again that day. So when he came here to Lingfield, you would have expected him to, after 2 runs, to know exactly what he's doing. But lo and behold, he went and dwelt coming out the stalls. And when he's gone up a grade, a notch up in grade like he did that day against a lot of horses who'd got plenty of experience, such as Rohan, who ended up winning the race, Bedford Flyer, Charlie Fellow, significantly, that kind of horse. He was on the back foot, and he actually meant that he was racing a little bit wide as well, not ideal. So the first thing I think that Adam Kirby's going to probably try and have to do on Friday is get him into a better tactical position than he was the other day.
Out of stall 5 as well, which is
out of stall 5, which is right in the middle, which is good if you hit the lids and get into that position where I said. But he doesn't want what he doesn't want. He doesn't want horses converging on him.
Yeah.
If he misses the break and they go like that and then go forward, because all of a sudden he's going to be in the same posse as he was last time. Like I say, I'm a big fan of this horse. He almost bailed himself out of trouble the other day by finishing his race off well. I think he's going to end up being a Group 2, Group 3 horse on the turf going forward. Like I said, I think it's going to be a good season for him because he's got lots of physical scope and room for improvement. I don't really like his price now. I know he's been much bigger in midweek. I think he was like 4 or 5 to 1 in midweek, and everyone seems to have cottoned on to him. Would I back anything against him? Possibly not. Like I say, he's at the moment. He's at one of the. I'm at crossroads with myself with what price I'd probably put him up at. He's one of the ones I'm looking to put up, but I might have to wait for him to drift up to sort of 3 to 1, up towards the 3 to 1 mark maybe before I'd step in. There'll be loads of pace on there. Mighty Gurkha, strong front runner. Apollo 1 again, strong front runner, plenty of pace. You're going to have to be on your mettle to win this race. You're going to have to be virtually in the right place at the right time for everything to fall just right. At least you've got Kirby on your side with Diligent Harry, and I'm sure he'll be more aware of what's going to go on around him than he was last time, because I think he probably thought he could still miss it and win last time out, and unfortunately come unstuck.
Yeah, the horse that beat it last time, Rohan, one of the stories of the all-weather season.
Incredible,
was rated 55 for the first handicap win, and now up to 95 after beating Diligent Harry last time.
I have I've had 1 or 2 interesting conversations with George Scott over that horse. It's a dagger through his heart every time he sees him win. So
I'm sure.
Enough said on that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Another one, Chatham, the other one for George Bowie, doing similar things. Won again yesterday. Yes. Incredible. It must be a hell of a ride to own a horse like that. We'll see what happens with Diligent Harry. 9 to 4, as I mentioned, with Bet Victor and Sporting Index at the moment. Andy hoping for a little bit of a drift there, and maybe we'll see it put up in the column on Friday morning. On then to the 4:15, which is the middle distance, so over 1 mile and 2 furlongs. 6 runners here, and Bangkok is the 5 to 4 favourite ahead of Forest of Dean at 7 to 4, Assimilation at 9 to 1, Pavlicino 12 to 1, Sky Defender 16 to 1, and Byford 25 to 1. A bit of a match at the top of the market here, Andy. Do you think the market has them the right way around?
I think so, yeah. They finished in the order that the betting has them in when they last met. Bangkok beat Forest of Dean. I think Forest of Dean's improved subsequently. Of course, that win in the Winter Derby suggests that. I thought he was brilliantly ridden by Rav Havlin that day, more than anything else. He gained the tactical battle with his other 2 jockeys who rode, Felix and Father of Jazz that day. He just basically got first run in a very slowly run race. It was tactical. If it pans out like that again on Friday, then there's a decent chance it might happen again. But I've got a sneaky feeling there's going to be more of a gallop on this time, because you've got Pallavicino and Sky Defender in there. They won't want to be hanging around. It's basically no point those 2 horses letting this develop into a sprint, because they're just not sprint finishers. They haven't got the kind of turn of foot that Bangkok and Forest of Dean have got. So they've got to try and do something to drag the stamina out of those 2 horses. But if it does go cleanly in an orderly race, then I still fancy Bangkok. He's just very good round here in general terms, very reliable. He's run the other day beyond Mishriff. Once again, was a classic case of Connections trying to probably fly a little bit too high. But I mean, that was an incredibly hot race as we saw with Mishriff winning again. I mean, that's probably one of the most toughest dirt races and highly contested dirt races you're likely to see. But back on the poly track, I think, where he glides down the bend and shows a good turn of foot, hopefully that'll play into his strength. So, yeah, I similar to Indy Angel early on in the card, I think it could be one for favourite backers here.
I mean, it's interesting to see a horse like Bangkok sent out for the Saudi Cup, kind of in the middle of the winter. We often talk, mainly in national hunt racing, I guess, about horses having kind of tough campaigns and tough seasons. Would you have any issue at all with the kind of globe-trotting nature that this could come as a not it's coming at the end of a period where he's travelled and he's had a really difficult race, as you mentioned.
It can't be ideal, and I'm sure that's got to be factored into your thought process, but it just depends on the horse, doesn't it, George? I mean, Bangkok's used to flying around the world, and he's come back after tough trips before, and he's been fine. You could argue that going out there and being on a sunbed for a week or so too doesn't do anyone any harm, including horses. I mean, look at Mishrif. I mean, like I say, he went toe to toe with one of the best American dirt horses in the world. Literally had to be carried out on his shield, and then he pops up fresh as paint. He wins over in Maidan over the weekend as if he hadn't been anywhere. So a lot depends on the horse, and I'm sure Bangkok's. He's had enough. He's had enough experience of those kind of flights around the world to know exactly what he's doing. So I don't see it as a major problem. If it's the first time he's done it, and then when he's come back he's run badly, I'd say yes, but it's never been the case with him.
Moving on then to the penultimate race on the card, which is the mile. Kuzam is the 11-4 favourite ahead of Mum's Tipple at 7-2, Intuitive 6-1, Fox Duty Free 7-1, Documenting 17-2, 9-1 Silver Quartz, 10-1 Bar. Andy, over to you.
Yeah, this is a belt. I think this is the most competitive race on the card, actually. You can make cases out for quite a few of these. Silver Quartz, I've been keeping my eye on him. He's been doing really well over in France. Loves the all weather. He's a much better horse in the care of his current connections than he was over here before. I think he was with Archie Watson. He never quite made the grade. I was very impressed with Kuzam when he won at Chelmsford the other day. I think he's probably going to be slightly overbet in the market or slightly overestimated. I think this is a good deal tougher than what he faced that day. Fox Duty Free's been on a real roll, got a smart turn of foot, nice attitude. The form of his races has worked out really well. But for me, the class angle coming into this race here was Mum's Tipple. Ever since when he won that big race at York by 9 lengths, and I think he broke the track record that day over 6 furlongs. He's been a real disappointment. But they finally worked him out, I think. They stepped him up in trip to Wolverhampton the other day, up to 7. And I was really impressed by the way he went through that race. He brushed aside a really good field in exemplary fashion. And I think that could be a stepping stone for brighter days ahead. I think the step up to a mile will be fine. He's tried a mile before, he didn't get it, but like I say, it was on the turf, and for some reason he just wasn't in form last year. He just had I don't think he really recovered from that York win, if I'm the truth to be told. And it's taken him a year to shake that off because it's such a massive effort on the numbers. But he just looked a happy horse the other day, and he's got a good draw. We know he handles the track. He handled it well over 6 furlongs the time before. He was a bit lucky, actually. He was doing all his best work at the end. So I'd probably be favouring him. And a favourable mention also goes out to Intuitive as well. Horse that loves it here at Lingfield. Didn't get the run of the race last time, and a very, very slow run forward in a race when he got nutted by Grove Ferry, having to make his own run in. That didn't really suit him that day. But in a strongly run, bigger field, I could see him being a player as well. So I'll probably wait till the day with that one and see how the prices settle down. But my gut instinct at the moment is looking towards Mum's Tipple.
Mum's Tipple is 7-2 with Paddy Power, Betfair Sportsbook, BetVictor, Betfred, and Sporting Index, and Intuitive 6-1 across the board at the time of recording. Just got the last race to go, Andy, and there aren't any prices out because it's the Apprentice Handicap. Probably won't be prices out until Thursday evening, I wouldn't have thought. 14 entered, just in case there are any that you want to flag up now, just to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Air Harbour would have been my first choice. I can imagine Connections are absolutely horrified with the draw that they've got.
Yeah,
they've basically laid this horse out ever since it won at Southall last time out. This has been the target for a long, long time. He's won here over the course and distance before. His last time when he shipped up here over a year ago, and they've gone to the trouble of booking the man of the moment, Benoit de la Sayette, of course. Not an unusual jockey booking by Mick Appleby, but you can imagine the Chris Dixon and the boys have spotted a loophole. They think, well, we'll just take an extra £7 off, but he's probably going to need more than £7 off. Drawn stall 14-14.
Yeah,
that is a real nasty one. That is to overcome. The one who's got the best draw and who's got the solid course and distance form in the bag, and he will want a mother and father of a gallop to be at his best. But when under those circumstances arise, he's always usually, he brings his A game to the table, and that's total commitment. He almost seems a veteran nowadays, doesn't he? He's a 5-year-old, but he seems to be going around forever.
Yeah.
But give a strongly run 7 furlongs at Lingfield. He comes out supremely well on our time figures that we keep. He's gone and bagged a good draw for him. He likes to race just in behind the speed. Like I say, not too far on the round, not too wide. He should be able to slingshot himself out of trouble turning for home. He could be underestimated because, like I said, there's a lot of sexy ones in this that have got ones by the name and plenty of back class. But if they bet down to 4 places, I'd be quite keen to get with him.
So that brings us to an end of the preview for the All Weather Championships finals. Do subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel. We've got loads of content coming up. Really exciting week next week, where we have the Masters preview podcast. Masters back again next weekend with Niall Lyons, our tipster, and Ben Coley from Sporting Life joining us as well. I'm unbelievably excited to sit down with those two, even over Skype, and just chat about the Masters for an hour or so. And then next week as well, 2 separate Aintree previews. We've got Ed Quigley and Andrew Thornton on for the Thursday and Friday preview. And then Andy, you're back with Andrew Thornton for the Grand National Day, the Saturday preview. So all of that coming out next week. So do subscribe to the podcast. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Plenty more content coming out through the year. Also do download the oddschecker app for the best prices, bookie offers, free bets, place terms, everything else you could want, including Andy's tips on the morning of every day's racing. Thank you very much to Andy. Please gamble responsibly and do enjoy the racing on Friday.